Welcome to this video on composting, brought to you by Garden Organic. Garden Organic is the national charity for organic growing. At the heart of Garden Organic are the members' experiments, which involve ordinary people all over the country trying different growing methods and techniques in their gardens and reporting back their results, so we can write them up and fully share them with everyone. The Heritage Seed Library protects vegetable varieties that are hard to find. We don't lock them away somewhere like a gene bank, but share them with our members to grow and enjoy. We have several other projects like Master Composters, Master Gardeners and Waste Reduction Volunteers, which all involve volunteers giving advice to their local communities. Organic gardening is not just about avoiding chemicals and pesticides. It's also about growing in natural and sustainable ways. It involves feeding the soil, encouraging wildlife, and managing pests and diseases naturally. We have developed the 5 principles to guide members of the public on how to be more organic in their growing. You can find out more about all of these on our website by using the links at the end and in the video description. You'll notice that all these areas have arrows directing towards composting, and that's because at Garden Organic we believe composting is at the heart of all these principles, and it's at the centre of any organic garden. So what is compost? Well, compost is made up purely of rich organic matter like fruit, vegetables, grass, leaves, twigs and even cardboard, which decomposes in the presence of air. Now, soil does have some of this stuff, but it has far more rock, sand, silt and clay. So when compost is added to ordinary soil, it makes it richer and more full of life. Just 1 gram of compost can be home to millions of microscopic creatures. This is because soil, and especially compost, with all that extra life in it, is a complex food web of decomposers feeding on the organic matter as well as each other. There's lots of reasons why we should compost. It helps your garden grow, saves you money on manufactured gardening products, reduces pollution from bonfires and transporting of waste, means less organic matter emitting greenhouse gases in landfills, stops the purchase of environmentally damaging peat compost, and adding compost to soil improves its ability to store carbon too. If you'd like to know more about the benefits of composting, I'll tell you how to get further composting support from us at the end of this video. With compost, it's all about getting the mix right, and we recommend something like a 50-50 mix of greens and browns. Greens are rich in nitrogen and rot down really quickly, things like grass, vegetable peelings and fruit scraps. Browns are rich in carbon and take longer to break down, things like cardboard, leaves and sticks. These provide structure, allowing air to move around your compost and absorb excess moisture. Add too many greens and your compost will be slimy and smelly. Add too many browns and your compost will be too dry. So let's just look at some classic green ingredients. Annual weeds rather than perennial, nettles, soft prunings, vegetable and fruit waste from the kitchen, hay, grass clippings, coffee grounds. Now, things like grass, fruit and veg are the sort of stuff that beginners often dump in their bin, but it's important that we balance this with browns. So things like woody prunings, but not too thick without chopping up or shredding first. Autumn leaves, kitchen paper or kitchen roll, as long as it's not that super strong type that has plastic in. Human or animal hair, newspapers, junk mail. Shredded paper is a great one, as this can fall through the recycling sorting process without being in an envelope, but it's a lovely big ball of spongy air. Straw, egg boxes, put them in whole or in 2 halves, don't rip them up into pieces, as the air pocket it creates is perfect. And sawdust from untreated wood, and cardboard too. Now these items are actually a useful mix of both. Pet bedding from a vegetarian pet, for example a gerbil, a hamster, a rabbit. Old bedding plants. Hedge clippings. Cut flowers, without the wrapper of course. Thorny prunings. Carrot tops. Animal manure with wood shavings or straw. And tea leaves and their bags, as long as they're not made with plastic. Neither a brown or a green, crushed eggshells and wood ash from a fire will both add essential minerals to your compost. Do not compost coal ash though, because of the impurities it contains. Now, although all these things will technically break down in a compost bin, we shouldn't add them as they will attract rats. This includes meat, fish, cooked food, bread, bones, pasta, liquids like custard and gravy, and dairy products. At the end of the list there is thick woody material like branches, which are too thick to break down, but these can be composted if chopped up. Now, things like crisp packets, plastic bags, or any kind of plastic milk or juice cartons, cling film, glass, metal, all of these definitely can't be composted. And as for cat and dog poo, yes, it can compost, but we shouldn't, as it can spread nasty diseases. When we dump all that organic matter into our compost bins, everything heats up as all the microscopic organisms get to work. Now, when you add these browns like egg boxes and sticks, it creates little pockets of air, and the air makes everything heat up even more, and so all that organic stuff turns into compost quicker. Now, turning your compost will add even more air to the process, but you don't have to. So if we don't add any air at all, it can take 12 to 18 months, but as quick as 12 weeks with lots of air added. Composting will happen wherever you put your bin, but if you put it directly onto the soil, all the decomposers can get in easily. Your compost heap or bin also needs sun to work effectively too. So if you put it in a shady spot behind your shed, under a tree, or on paving slabs, it will take a lot longer. You shouldn't have to add water if you look after your compost bin properly, but if it's getting dry, then it will help. The important thing is to get that 50-50 mix of greens and browns, and that should keep it not too wet and not too dry. If you're not sure, a quick squeeze test will help you check. It should just feel damp. Remember to always wash your hands well after handling compost, as you should after working in the garden anyway. You might think a compost bin is just a compost bin, but you might be surprised to discover that there are dozens of different kinds of compost bin, and all have their different advantages and disadvantages, as well as different ways of maintaining them. The most common bin is the Blackwall compost converter, or the Dalek bin. This is what's known as a cool composting bin, which doesn't get up to really high temperatures like industrial composting or even a hot bin, but they do the job absolutely fine. One tip though, if you struggle to get your compost out of the little hatch at the bottom, just lift the whole thing off like a jelly mould instead. These are often subsidised by councils with free delivery too, at the website getcomposting.com. To find your local offers, just pop in your postcode on the website. If you want to add a little extra protection from rats, you can also get a solid base for your Dalek bin from here. So that's the end of our composting video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. If you'd like more composting support and advice, and more detail on things like the benefits of composting, the creatures in your compost bin, choosing the best bin for you, and just general troubleshooting tips, we have about 500 volunteers around the country who can help. These can be found in areas funded by councils and waste contractors, and they provide advice, talks, workshops and school sessions for free. At the moment, we have active projects in Cumbria, Gloucestershire, Leicestershire, Norfolk, Shropshire, Staffordshire, Suffolk and Worcestershire. If you're not in one of those areas but would like something similar, you can email us at inquiry@gardenorganic.org.uk to inquire about setting up a master composter, master gardener or waste reduction project, or even just to arrange a bespoke one-off training session from our team of experienced trainers. Before you leave, there are some links for extra information if you're interested. They're also in the video description too, so don't worry about trying to write them down now. The first one will take you to our website to find out more about composting, the soil and organic growing and the 5 principles I mentioned at the start. The second one will take you to a whole page of resources and ideas for activities for schools and people wanting to learn at home too. The third one is all about Garden Organic or Heritage Seed Library membership. And the fourth one is all about the different kinds of projects we provide. Thanks for watching and happy composting.